When we talk about vision and we talk about unconventional thinking, there is an additional dimension that's important to introduce. And it's important that I remind and point this out to you, because if you are looking for greatness, if you are looking for building great brands that, by the way, capitalize on the momentum that Asia is building right now as it rises, you've got to pay attention to this slide. We talk about change, and this morning we've already been introduced and reminded about the significant change that's taking place around the world. We need to begin to understand or open our eyes to the scope and scale of change. And it's significant, it's major. It's so big, in fact, that we run the risk of not even noticing it. So when we talk about change, what we really need to recognize is that it is disruptive change. We have disruptive change that's taking place right now. A lot of companies continue to do business in a very conventional way. That is not sustainable. That is a recipe for irrelevance. And the two consequential issues that we need to talk about is how has that change impacted that primary segment that all of you focus on almost exclusively, and that's consumers, right? How has change impacted them? Because it has. It's changed the game. It's changed the way that you address consumers. It has to. The first is really what consumers expect. And the second is what they want. Anymore, that's really a thesis. It's now real. And we can see the signs emerging, unprecedented signs. Why are the US elections relevant to business? Why should you care about what's happening in the United States? The fear, the uncertainty, and the anxiety is propelling people to look for answers elsewhere, and it's taken the establishment by surprise. Nobody anticipated that. That is the nature of disruptive change. Anger, concern. How does that translate in how you want to appeal or how you want to communicate with your consumers? So corporate culture is an issue that we need to be addressing right now. So the absence of inclusive, enabling cultures ultimately compromises what? It compromises the single most important driver of competitive advantage. Your ability, or a company's ability, to do what? To innovate. People are always talking about which of the consultants we're going to bring in to create innovation. How are we going to do this? They're looking in the wrong places. Innovation, first and foremost, comes from within. The world is at one end. It is purpose, but is at an extreme point of that continuum. What a lot of companies can, in fact, be addressing is purpose, brand purpose, at the other end of the continuum. The things that, in fact, make your brand relevant to me. How is your brand relative to my life? How is it going to improve my life? How is it going to make me feel better about the issues that revolve around me or solve differentiation? We talked about the 360 degrees. We talked about the whole paradigm shifting. And the ability to be different, to be relevant to people is now difficult because the things that you do, the performance of your brand has been commoditized. So now, it's about improving people's lives. Why? Because we have those 5 issues that are affecting and creating anxiety around the world. That it has to be real, right? The implicit assumption is that if you're going to take on a purpose, if you're going to dedicate your company to something that you truly believe in, at the very, very least, you're going to have to believe in it, correct? So this is not about greenwashing. This is not about cynical adoptions of things that your research tells you resonate with people. This is about a transformation of an organization, which brings me to because this is not the new route, folks. This is the new route to competitive advantage in the 21st century. This is the beginning of that something else is now Asia. As companies, if you recognize the landscape changes, you have the opportunity of doing 2 things. Creating real differentiation, but at the same time participating in this great adventure, this great enterprise, this great rise, which ultimately